Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Call. I'm Keely McCormick.
And I'm Malik Jackson. We have a packed show for you as always. We'll be talking about Michael Cohen. We have a legal analyst in the studio. Also some breaking news this morning that we're going to tell you about.
That's right, plus another special interview for you guys, and we'll be discussing Drake's newest song.
Today is April 11th, 2018.
And Wake Up Call starts right now. Good morning and welcome back to Wake Up Call.
Alrighty, this morning we start off with a story that broke Monday that has captivated the political world and has casted a cloud over the White House. Donald Trump's longtime personal lawyer Michael Cohen had his office raided by the FBI. Now we don't know what they were exactly looking for, but we do know that the investigation was started under the special counsel's investigation. Once Mueller determined it was out of his scope, he turned the information over to the Justice Department, and the raid was approved by Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. Cohen's lawyer released a statement saying that in part that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York had executed a series of search warrants and seized privileged communication between Cohen and his clients.
And on Tuesday morning, Donald Trump via Twitter let the world know what he thought of the raid in one tweet, saying, "Attorney-client privilege is dead." In a separate tweet, he used a term that he's often used to characterize the special counsel's investigation, tweeting, "A total witch hunt."
And joining us now, criminal law professor right here at KU and former criminal law professor out of New York, Corey Young. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. So can you tell us, in your expert opinion, what are the ramifications of the FBI raiding a lawyer's office, let alone the President of the United States' lawyer?
Well, lawyers are rarely the subject of these sorts of raids where evidence is seized because of worries about attorney-client privilege, and so there's extra hurdles to surmount when investigating their files and seizing their files. And so it's a pretty big deal because, you know, Cohen is a longtime Trump loyalist. He's been with him for over 20 years. And it's unclear exactly what it means, but there's no doubt that this is the closest Trump has been, you know, affected by the investigation so far, given his long-term connections with Cohen.
So what do you think will happen next now for Trump and Cohen now that this has occurred?
Well, it's a little unclear. I mean, the warrant, which is still sealed, requires probable cause of evidence of criminality, but it's not necessarily criminality by Cohen or even Trump. You know, the two things in the media that have been discussed are the Stormy Daniels payoff that Cohen is said to have given himself, and then this payment from a Ukrainian businessman for a 20-minute video or something. And both of those, you know, raise issues of possibly money laundering or improper campaign donations. And so those are the sort of obvious candidates. But given the sealed nature of the warrant, it's difficult to know exactly what either Mueller or the Southern District of New York office were looking for.
So what do you think about in the statement that his, I mean, you were talking about attorney-client privilege, and the statement that his lawyer released, he talked about privileged communication between Cohen and clients had been seized. What does that ring a bell for you? Yeah,
I mean, the attorney-client privilege isn't without limits. One of the most notable and potentially relevant exceptions is the crime-fraud exception. So any communications between a lawyer and client that are criminal or related to a criminal endeavor are not privileged. And also if Cohen had any advice for non-legal matters, business, personal related. And so there's a process to protect attorney-client privilege where the lawyers who actually look at the documents to determine if they're privileged are not the same lawyers who are in charge of investigating this case. They build a wall between them to try and ensure that clients' privilege is protected. And the Southern District of New York, which is a very important and well-established prosecutor's office, it does this, with some frequency, and privilege calls exist in business raids as well. When you go to a company, they'll have lawyers' documents. So this is not an unusual process, and it certainly does not mean attorney-client privilege is dead in any way.
So do you think that he will be charged with anything, and if you do, with what?
It's hard to know. I mean, you know, as I said, there's a couple crimes sort of lingering in the background, certainly because when Manafort was indicted and money laundering was an issue, and when you see these sums of cash moving around, it makes people wonder, you know, what's going on, and I'm sure there's an extra piece of evidence that was given to the Southern District of New York that created probable cause here. But it's possible that this is just, you know, one more link in a long chain for the investigation. And so we'll see going forward. But I do think, you know, Trump, his reaction has often been sort of vocal, especially the witch hunt. But I do think this hit far closer to home, because if there's anyone who knows about Trump's dealings over the last couple of years and previous to that, it's his personal lawyer. So I think it's a very notable development.
And finally, a two-part question. First off, what does it signal to you that Mueller started the investigation and then passed it over to the Justice Department, number one? And as we were visiting yesterday, you said that to close out that you thought that Trump would fire Mueller.
So the first question, I think it's hard to read too much into it. This could just be a matter of geography, that lawyers in D.C. think it's easier for the New York lawyers to go serve the office there, and so it's not particularly notable. But one possible explanation is that, you know, this is a little tangential or not in the central part of the Mueller investigation, and so the Southern District of New York was the more proper office to handle this part of the investigation. As to my speculation about firing Mueller either directly or indirectly, meaning firing somebody who's higher up to avoid sort of the, you know, problems that happened with the Saturday Night Massacre under Nixon, when the same sort of dynamic where he wanted to fire the special counsel but had to fire his boss first. I think that Trump right now, if he's worried that Cohen is going to flip or is going to give testimony that would be damaging to him, it would make sense, for as crazy as it sounds, to preemptively act here before things go further. And a lot of the people who, you know, speak on his behalf in the media and elsewhere have been, you know, beating the drum of fire Mueller for a while. And so there's a certain logic to it, because, you know, the only way he can prevent people from, you know, providing evidence against him is either to stop the investigation or to pardon. And pardoning carries different political risks, and he might decide that the firing option is the better one. But it's hard to know with Trump, so I'm not going to predict the future with any high certainty there.
Yeah, so we were talking about how Trump chooses to vocalize things on Twitter. So how do you feel about his recent tweets?
Well, I mean, this morning he seems to be engaged in more saber rattling, this time with Russia instead of North Korea, who he's often been his foe. I don't know. I'm still, you know, it's been a couple of years, and I still can't adjust to presidency by tweet. But it seems to be the world we're in, so it's shocking.
Corey Young, we appreciate you joining us this morning, and we're going to move right along.
Thank you.
Here on Wake Up Call. House Speaker Paul Ryan told his confidants that he is not seeking re-election and will soon announce his decision. Two sources with direct knowledge informed CNN with the news this morning. This Wisconsin Republican has been in Congress since 1999 and became House Speaker in 2015.
Yesterday, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg faced questions from senators about the data breach that resulted in information from 15 million people being accessible to the company Cambridge Analytica. In a prepared statement Zuckerberg read in front of the Senate members yesterday, he said that Facebook didn't take a broad enough view of their responsibility and that there was a big mistake. Zuckerberg says he doesn't know if any employees were involved with the Cambridge Analytica company. Senator Dick Durbin simplified it for him, asking basic questions such as, would you be comfortable sharing the name of the hotel you stayed at last night? Zuckerberg responded by saying, no. Durbin finished up by saying, maybe what this is all about, your right to privacy. Zuckerberg will be back on Capitol Hill today to face questions from the House.
Truly, truly intriguing right there. Tom Boster, Donald Trump's Homeland Security advisor since he took office, was fired yesterday. Boster didn't see this coming at all, a source says. Boster was seen with current and former intelligence officials Monday night at a conference in Sea Island, Georgia. The move comes as new National Security Advisor John Bolton tries to consolidate power in the White House.
Actor TJ Miller has gotten himself into some water after drunkenly calling a fake bomb threat while on an Amtrak train headed for Connecticut. Now, the train he called it on was not even the train he was on. Amtrak officials stopped the train and found nothing. Miller was arrested Monday night at New York's LaGuardia Airport and released on a $100,000 bond Tuesday morning. He faces up to 5 years in prison.
Some bad decisions when you're drunk and you land in jail for 5 years. That's
That'll
rough.
get you.
That'll get you. And that's all for A Block. We'll be right back with Deasia with a special interview about her opportunity and fellowship as a journalism student right here at KU. Stay with us.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
And welcome back to Wake Up Call. Joining me now is Deasia, and she is a part of Black on Campus. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you for joining us. So can you please explain to our viewers what Black on Campus is?
Yeah, so Black on Campus is basically a journalism program. It's part of an internship from different journalists who are already in the field or like different journalism professors, and then it's like we're the 10 students who are involved, we'll get to have bylines with the nation documenting issues affecting Black college students on campus.
So how did you first hear about this, and what was the process of becoming involved with this?
Yeah, so I first heard about it back in like November because I follow Miss Melissa Harris Perry, and she's one of the founding directors of the program. So when she tweeted out the application, I just jumped on it immediately. So yeah.
And so can you describe to our viewers some of the opportunities that you've gotten because you're a part of this organization?
So yeah, during spring break, I went to North Carolina to do some more training with different journalists and investigative journalists. And recently, I was just interviewed by MTVU about my participation in the program. So
that's really, really cool. And so when you went to North Carolina, was there specific programs that they were helping you guys with, instructing you guys to do certain things?
Yeah, so we got training from the Ida B. Wells Society, and that's basically an investigative journalism program for journalists of color. So we did that for like 2 days or 1 day, I think, yeah.
And so this organization has students all over the country. So how do you guys manage to keep this organized and stay connected together, considering everyone's at different schools,
right,
from East Coast to West Coast?
So every week, like every Sunday, we have weekly calls via video or via like Skype. And like throughout the week, we have like a Black on Campus group meet where we like share like stories about being journalists or just like any random thing. So it's pretty cool.
So is there any direct involvement here at the University of Kansas that you participate with, or just spread Black on Campus here at the University of Kansas?
Not really. Part of my story is basically about the challenges facing Black women leadership on college campuses. So I have talked to certain people on campus about their reactions to that, but there hasn't been any like direct involvement on campus.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your story, what you were just referencing?
So basically it's like the challenges and perceptions facing Black women leadership, whether that be like president positions or like just student body leaders. So.
And it's kind of written on your shirt, it says Black girls are lit.
Yeah.
Does that kind of mesh with your story, the story you're trying to purvey?
Yeah, because I think well, one of my roles as a journalist, or what I want to do as a journalist, is constantly tell the stories of Black women. So this shirt kind of like sets it off for me. And that's kind of why I picked my topic about talking about Black women leadership on college campuses.
So can you talk about that, being a Black woman in America, some would call the most disenfranchised group, being a person of color and a woman. Can you talk about the struggle being in America and trying to be successful with all the things that are there to hold you back, to not allow you to succeed?
Yes, I think being a Black woman, you always face this sort of double burden. You're like almost always overshadowed by like your white counterparts, and then you're constantly marginalized and oppressed by Black men. So I think my role as a journalist is just to like share our stories and show that we do matter and that our stories are something that should be important, because you don't really see it shown in media coverage. So.
And so what year are you here at KU?
I'm a sophomore.
So what do you have any plans? What do you want to do? Of course, advance this story, but in a long format, maybe a TV show broadcast.
Yeah, so I deal basically with like print and online work. So as I said, like in the past, well again, like I'm always dedicated to sharing Black women's stories. So whatever medium that takes me, then I'm good with that.
And so is there any, besides your story, are you doing anything else involved here at KU in the multicultural programs that is helping you advance this?
Yeah, so I am a part of Emerging Scholars, which is like an undergraduate research program, and I work within the African and African American Studies Department, looking into desegregating colleges back in the 1930s with the NAACP. And I also do write for the Kansas, and I do tend to promote stories that showcase minority students here. So, yeah.
That is very nice. So is there anything else you'd like to add about this amazing opportunity, this fellowship that you've had, or this project story, anywhere people can go home and find this?
Yeah, so you can visit blackoncampusnow.com to see who else is involved in the program, all the team members, and like the different stories that we're working on, and also like different photos that have been shared since we started this program. And also, I am going to be having bylines with the nation, so that is going to be coming like around June, so you can stay tuned for that.
Typically that's the last question, but I do have one more question. Do you have any advice for young Black girls that are coming up now, maybe high school seniors, freshmen in college, as they try to make their voice heard?
Yeah, I would just tell them don't be afraid to be outspoken. I know sometimes Black girls are often like more punished than others for like being outspoken, and I just want them to know that your voice does matter, because I did think that prior to coming to this program, but I think participating in this program has really like boosted my confidence as a journalist. So.
That's all you can ask for,
Yeah.
right? Thank you for joining us this morning, and best of luck to you in your
me.
future endeavors. No problem. And when we come back on Wake Up Call, we'll have a weekend review. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Thank you to Deasia and Malik for that great interview. And now it's time for Weekend Review, Malik's favorite segment.
So let's get started. Tammy Duckworth became the first sitting senator to ever have a baby. Congrats to her on a new baby and breaking a barrier down. She says rules should be changed so she can bring her baby to vote on Sunday. How about that?
The U.S. Surgeon General issued an advisory Thursday recommending people carry nalox on vacation. Nalox is an opioid overdose reversing drug. This is the first such advisory since 2005.
Really long, kind of scary right there. Strawberries, I think they're good. I really do like strawberries, especially when they put the chocolate on them.
Or the sugar.
Oh,
Great snack.
so good. But they again were named the dirtiest fruit according to an environmental group's annual pesticide contamination warning list.
That's interesting. I would expect it to be raspberries or something.
I don't know, but it's strawberries. I'm kind of upset about it because I really like them. Yeah.
The royals have started sending out invites for their May wedding. Yes, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sent some out, but some notables not on the list include President Trump or the Obamas. A source won't say if either were asked and just declined. Yikes.
Wow. Big move there, because Prince Harry and Obama were kind of close.
Yeah.
Remember, Prince Harry started his little podcast, whatever he does, and Obama was one of his first guests on there and made some news, and so.
Interesting. I wonder
Way
what
to
happened
just
there.
shoo.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on, keep in mind, voting for KU elections opened up today. They're online and it closes tomorrow at 4 p.m. So be sure to go online to the coalition of your choice and vote. We have the links to each coalition here on the screen, so inform yourself and make your choice, make your voice heard, and go out and vote.
And that is a very important thing here. They control a lot of money that goes around campus as far as student fees, you know. They control whether you have what we get at the rec and stuff. So go out and, like Keely said, make your voice heard.
Tell us how Wesco Beach was looking today.
I know, I was telling them when I walked in the studio, I felt like it was November 8th, you know, in an even year, a presidential election year. People were shouting, vote Crimson and Blue, vote Rise KU, this blah, blah, blah. And then they were giving people like, they were stopping people like, this is how you go online right here, vote, blah, 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 blah. And I felt like 2016, 2012, 2008, when it's like election day.
It's exciting. I bet all the coalition members are just a ball of nerves right now.
It's fun because, you know, it's new. It's something that's happening, and especially here at KU, it's kids really making their voices heard, and that's what you love to see.
Yeah, definitely. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about Drake's new song. Have you listened to it?
I have not listened to it.
All right, let's toss to that for a second, then we'll discuss how we feel about it.
No cable. With your phone out, gotta hit them angles. With your phone out, snapping like you Fable. And you showing off, but it's alright. And you showing off, but it's alright. It's a short life, yeah.
So Malik, I'm surprised you haven't heard that song. It's definitely up in the most talked about things. But
How does it go? Tell me.
I don't know the words. We just played it.
I know, but my FB wasn't working.
I can't sing. You all know that. But it's a pretty good song. It's kind of, everyone expected it to be kind of encouraging towards men, but it was very like boosting towards women empowerment. And so pretty exciting to see that. And it's a catchy tune.
Well, we have that kind of women empowerment, you know, vibe today. Deasia,
like to see it.
Drake, wow. Love to see that. And we'll be right back on Wake Up Call with some sports and always her favorite segment, some good news. We'll be right back.
Where you go to college makes a statement about you. This place will become a part of you, your identity for life. The University of Kansas, a great place to be you.
And welcome back to Wake Up Call. The Mizzou Tigers lacrosse team traveled to enemy territory here in Lawrence Saturday afternoon to battle the Jayhawks for the Governor's Cup. Kansas started strong with the first goal and kept the lead throughout the game. The Tigers scored in the last 2 minutes, but that was not enough to stop the Jayhawks. The border war came to a conclusion with a final score of Jayhawks 9, Tigers 5. Love to hear that. And KU brought the Governor's Cup sword back to KU with so much pride.
Just looks like KU just dominates Mizzou in every category.
I know. Last time we played them in
we were
the
there.
basketball game, we were there.
Yeah.
You saw it right here on Wake Up Call. We beat them there. Although they did beat us in hockey. We beat them last year, and then they got us this year. But we'll get them back next year.
Maybe we'll get them in.
For now, let's just focus on how we have the Governor's Sword right here in Lawrence, Kansas.
Pretty exciting. It's hanging up in the most, I don't know, favorite place in Lawrence, the Jayhawk Cafe. So
Don't we love that place?
pretty exciting. All right, well, before the softball series finale game on Saturday, KU welcomed back alums to celebrate 50 years of women's athletics at Kansas and the jersey retirement of former student athlete and coach Tracy Bunch. After Bunch hit the first pitch, the Jayhawks went on to play with the normal roster. KU is behind Oklahoma State 2-0 going into the final game, and despite the excitement of the alum, they could not come back in the last game and fell to Oklahoma State 3-0. Jayhawks will travel to Oklahoma for a 3-game series against Oklahoma University on April 13th through the 15th. So a sad loss, but pretty exciting celebrating all those years of
50
women's
years.
athletics.
Man, this is a great show. Women,
Yeah.
women. They make the world go round.
That's right.
The Jayhawks hosted Alabama and Tennessee in the Big 12 double duel Saturday afternoon as they kicked off their season on Wyandotte County Lake. Both KU's first varsity 4 and third varsity 8 clocked its fastest times of the day against Alabama, and KU's second varsity 4 placed first in the first regatta of the year. Congratulations to them. Next, the rowing team will head to New Jersey for the Connect Cup April 14th and 15th.
I can only imagine getting out on that water with the wind and everything, and the weather being up and down. Like, that had to be pretty
Can
cool.
we just, can you imagine just,
I don't think it could be easy.
I don't think I could do it.
I don't know.
Could you do it?
No.
Let's
I
try
can
out.
Kayak.
There's a men's rowing team and a women's, so let's try out.
Let's do it. We can bring
Let's do
Wake Up
it.
Call. Our fans can come along with us.
All of you. All of
Perfect.
you.
All right, well, time for I Come Bearing Good News. Whose favorite thing is that?
Yours.
Montana Kenny, a 7-year-old from Texas, just became the youngest female to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. Also, she could be closer to her father, who passed away when she was just 3 years old. This treacherous hike takes about 6 days, and she said it was beautiful, and she was able to wave and blow a kiss to her father, who is now up in heaven.
That's a pretty, and we got more, because there's more good news. Because we love good news and positive vibes right here on Wake Up Call. There are veterans in small communities throughout Mexico that are too old for disability to drive to Albuquerque for medical treatment. For the last 16 years, a pair of retired Army soldiers have volunteered their time to drive these disabled veterans up and down the interstate. They currently transport people on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and are looking for a third driver so they can be in service 4 days a week. That's really amazing, because we like to see the people who make such a big difference.
That's right.
And, you know, give us the rights of the press, do what we do, freedom of speech. They protect those rights to be treated the right way.
Yeah, we love to see it. Well, Malik, do you have any special plans coming up for this weekend?
I don't have any special plans coming up this weekend.
How
but
was last weekend? Malik's mom was in
Oh,
town.
it was pretty amazing. It was pretty. My mom, my aunt, and my cousin came up. We had the time of our lives. I don't think I've ever had more fun with my mom, my aunt, my cousin than that weekend.
They are some fun
and on
people.
top of that, everything this weekend was free. So
That's always a benefit. Always a nice part of Mom's Weekend. I know at one point I was singing All the Single Ladies with your mom, your
I know.
aunt, and your cousin. We were having a great time.
it was a fun time.
Kicked
And
Malik
your
out.
mom is coming this weekend.
That's right, she is. We'll see how she handles Lawrence. She's pretty excited.
What do you guys have planned?
We are gonna go shopping in Kansas City on Friday, and then dinner. Do you have any dinner suggestions, Mr. Kansas City?
Yeah, definitely Gates Barbecue. I think Gates Barbecue is like amazing. So I think you
Okay.
should go there.
Okay. What do you think is that the best barbecue in KC?
I do. I think that's the best barbecue by far.
Okay, I'll consider it. And then Saturday we have brunch. We're gonna get our nails done. Maybe I'll take her out on the town to meet all our friends. She wants to see Malik.
Yeah, of course. Everyone wants to see me, right? So you guys are going to be here all weekend, correct?
Yes.
When does she leave out?
She'll be leaving Sunday afternoon.
Well, that is very cool. And for you guys right here at KU, your enrollment's coming up. It's kind of scary.
That's right. Enrollment time is always very stressful, scary. You have to meet with your advisors and then go to enroll, and then there's tickets. For me, I have like $100 to pay in parking tickets.
I know, and for me, I have to pass this grammar basics course
Ooh.
in order to graduate on time, so wish me
That's
so
a
much
hard one.
luck.
Yeah, good luck to you. When's your enrollment date?
I have no idea. I haven't even looked. It's
Same,
too stressful.
It's too stressful to think about. But I know a lot of kids have started enrolling. Everyone has different enrollment dates. They have different times to meet with their counselors. So everyone's going on their own schedule. Hopefully I get into the classes that I need.
Well, make sure you guys go out and make your voices heard. Vote, because if you don't vote, then you really can't say anything. You can't complain about anything.
No complaints.
So Laura's actually going to put the graphic back up for you guys right there. You can see, you go to each, whatever you decide, you can make your own individual decision. But make sure you do, in fact, use your power. What would you say that?
Yeah, use your power, make your voice heard, and make sure you read up on each one so you're informed and can make a knowledgeable decision before you vote.
Alrighty. For Keely McCormick,
And
I'm
Malik Jackson.
I like that. We appreciate you guys joining us this Wednesday. Thank you to Mr. Young and Deasia for joining us today. And of course, we'll see you right back here next Wednesday at 9 a.m.